Australia, a land of diverse landscapes and ancient stories, existed for millennia before European eyes ever saw its shores. This vast continent, with its sweeping deserts, lush rainforests, towering mountains and extensive coastlines, held secrets and wonders that were deeply intertwined with the lives of its first inhabitants. Aboriginal Australians, the first people of this land, lived in harmony with nature, their history woven into the very fabric of the continent. For over 60,000 years they thrived, developing rich cultures and traditions that were passed down through countless generations. They were skilled hunters, gatherers, and custodians of their environment. Their knowledge of the land was unparalleled, allowing them to sustainably manage resources and ensure the survival of their communities. They understood the rhythms of nature, the migration patterns of animals, and the cycles of plant life. Their stories, passed down through generations, speak of a deep spiritual connection to the land and its creatures. These tales, often depicted in intricate rock art and oral traditions, are known as Dreamtime stories. They explain the creation of the world, the origins of their people, and the moral codes by which they lived. For thousands of years, they were the sole inhabitants, their presence shaping the unique biodiversity and cultural tapestry of Australia. Their practices, such as controlled burning, helped maintain the health of the land and its ecosystems, fostering a balance that supported a wide variety of life. The arrival of Europeans in the 18th century marked a turning point in the continent's history. When Captain James Cook and his crew first set foot on Australian soil in 1770, they encountered a land that was vastly different from anything they had known. It was a clash of cultures, a meeting of two worlds vastly different from one another. The Europeans brought with them new technologies, beliefs and ways of life that were foreign to the Aboriginal Australians. This initial contact was just the beginning of a complex and often tumultuous relationship. The impact of this encounter would have far-reaching consequences, shaping the destiny of Australia for centuries to come. The introduction of European settlement led to significant changes in the landscape, the displacement of Aboriginal communities, and the introduction of new species and diseases. This period marked the beginning of a new chapter in Australia's history, one that would forever alter the lives of its original inhabitants and the land they had cared for so deeply. In 1770, the HMS Endeavour, commanded by Lieutenant James Cook, sailed into Botany Bay. Cook, a skilled navigator and cartographer, was on a mission to chart the southern Pacific. His voyage to Australia was a significant event, marking the first recorded European encounter with the east coast of the continent. Cook's explorations and meticulous record-keeping sparked European interest in this new land. His reports described a vast and seemingly uninhabited land ripe for the taking. Little did he know, his arrival would forever alter the course of Australian history. His voyage paved the way for British colonisation, forever changing the relationship between the Aboriginal people and their ancestral lands. 18 years after Cook's landing, the First Fleet arrived at Botany Bay. Under the command of Captain Arthur Phillip, 11 ships carrying over 1,000 convicts, along with free settlers and marines, made the arduous journey from England. Their arrival on January 26, 1788, marked the founding of the first British colony in Australia, New South Wales. This date, now commemorated as Australia Day, is a complex and contested one, representing both triumph and tragedy in the nation's narrative. Governor Phillip, tasked with establishing a penal colony, faced immense challenges. He had to contend with unfamiliar terrain, a precarious food supply, and tensions with the Aboriginal population. The early years of British settlement were marked by hardship and adaptation. Convicts, transported for crimes ranging from petty theft to more serious offences, provided the labour force for the fledgling colony. They endured harsh treatment and often faced a brutal existence. Their stories, often overlooked in the grand narratives of exploration and colonisation, paint a picture of resilience and the human cost of empire. Despite the challenges, the colony gradually grew. Free settlers began to arrive, enticed by the promise of land and new opportunities. The discovery of fertile land beyond the Blue Mountains opened up new areas for exploration and settlement. Section 5. Expanding the frontier. This chapter delves into the significant period of Australian history when European settlers began to spread across the vast continent, establishing new colonies and transforming the land. As the years passed, European settlement expanded across the continent. The settlers brought with them new agricultural practices, tools, and a determination to cultivate the land, which they saw as a new opportunity for prosperity. New colonies were established, Tasmania in 1825, marking the beginning of a new era of development and settlement in the southern regions. Western Australia in 1829, where settlers faced harsh conditions but persevered to build thriving communities. South Australia in 1836, known for its unique approach to colonization, focusing on free settlers rather than convicts. Victoria in 1851, which quickly became a hub of economic activity. And Queensland in 1859, where the tropical climate and fertile land attracted many settlers looking to start anew. Each colony developed its own unique character and industries. From sheep farming in New South Wales to mining in Victoria, the economic landscape of Australia was rapidly changing. The discovery of gold in New South Wales and Victoria in the 1850s transformed Australia, bringing immense wealth and leading to the establishment of bustling towns and cities, sparking a gold rush that drew people from all over the world. Ships arrived daily, filled with hopeful prospectors eager to make their fortune in the goldfields. This period of rapid growth and expansion came at a cost. The influx of settlers and the rush for resources led to significant environmental changes and social upheaval. The Aboriginal people, their land increasingly encroached upon, faced profound disruptions to their traditional way of life. Their sacred sites and hunting grounds were often taken over by settlers, were often met with violence and displacement. The struggle for land and resources led to numerous conflicts, with Aboriginal communities being forcibly removed from their ancestral lands. The frontier wars, fought between settlers and Aboriginal groups defending their territories, were marked by brutal confrontations and significant loss of life on both sides, remain a dark chapter in Australian history. These conflicts left a lasting impact on the nation's collective memory, reminding us of the complex and often painful process of nation building. Section 6. Gold, gold, gold! The discovery of gold in 1851 had a profound impact on Australia. News of the gold rush spread like wildfire, attracting people from all corners of the globe. From China, the Americas, and Europe, towns mushroomed overnight and the population swelled. The influx of migrants brought diversity and new skills to Australia, but it also exacerbated tensions. Competition for resources and cultural differences led to social unrest and discrimination. The Gold Rush era was a time of great change and upheaval, shaping the demographic and social fabric of the nation. Section 7. Federation, a nation forged. By the late 19th century, the 6 British colonies in Australia had developed their own identities and systems of government. However, a sense of unity began to emerge. Shared economic interests, the need for a unified defence force, and a desire for a distinct national identity led to discussions about federation. On January 1st, 1901, after years of negotiations, the 6 colonies united to form the Commonwealth of Australia. This marked the birth of a new nation, independent within the British Empire. Federation was a significant milestone in Australia's journey, but the road ahead was not without its challenges. Section 8. Recognition and reconciliation. This chapter delves into the complex and often painful history of Australia, focusing on the journey towards acknowledging and addressing past injustices. The 20th century was a period of significant change and development for Australia. Cities expanded, industries grew, and the nation began to carve out its identity on the global stage. The nation played a role in both world wars, contributing troops and resources to the global effort. These conflicts shaped Australia's national consciousness and its place in the world. In the post-war era, Australia's economy grew rapidly. Industries flourished and the standard of living improved for many Australians. However, this prosperity was not shared by all. The legacy of colonisation continued to cast a long shadow over the nation. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities faced ongoing challenges and systemic disadvantages. Aboriginal Australians continued to face discrimination and inequality, their rights and cultures often disregarded by mainstream society. Their voices were largely marginalised in the national narrative, and their struggles for recognition and justice were frequently overlooked. In recent decades, there has been a growing movement towards reconciliation and recognition of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples' rights and history. This movement has been driven by both Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians. The 1992 Mabo decision was a landmark moment in this journey. It overturned the legal fiction of terra nullius, or land belonging to no one, and recognised native title, acknowledging the traditional rights of Indigenous peoples to their land. This decision was a significant step forward, but it was just one part of a much larger and ongoing process of reconciliation and justice. The journey towards reconciliation is ongoing. It involves not only legal and political changes, but also a deep cultural shift towards understanding and valuing Indigenous perspectives and histories. Reconciliation requires truth-telling, empathy, and a commitment to justice. It calls for all Australians to engage with the past, acknowledge the present, and work together towards a more equitable and inclusive future. Section 9: Australia Today. Today, Australia is a modern multicultural nation with a rich and complex history. It is a country grappling with its past while striving to create a more equitable and just future for all its citizens. The journey from colonisation to reconciliation is an ongoing process, one that demands reflection, understanding, and a willingness to learn from the past. Australia's story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the enduring power of culture, and the importance of understanding our shared history. It is a story that continues to unfold, shaped by the contributions of all Australians, past, present, and future.